we've learnt that music has long and short sounds. But I'm sure you're aware that music also has higher and lower sounds. The pitch of a note tells us how high or low that note is. We show pitch by using a stave, a group of 5 lines and 4 spaces. Notes can be written on any line or in any space. Here's what notes look like when they're on the lines. And here's what they look like when they're in the spaces in between the lines. If we want to draw a note on a line, we need to make sure that the line goes straight through the center of the note head, like an arrow going through a person's head. This is correct. These are wrong. Same goes for notes in the spaces. They sit in between 2 neighbouring lines, just touching them but never overlapping them. Again, this is a beautiful looking note. These, well, not so much. Basically, be neat when you're drawing notes, or else there will be much confusion.
This oval-shaped fella is called note head. When we place all these little notes randomly onto the stave, they create magic power. Each of them create a different sound. Now, let's put note heads onto each line. We call this line note 1 because this note is placed on the first line. Next, we have line note 2, line note 3, line note 4, and line note 5. There you go, 5 line notes. If the notes are on the lines, we call them line notes. If a note is placed in the first space, we call this space note 1. Following that, space note 2, space note 3, and lastly, space note 4.
Now, on its own, the stave doesn't really mean anything. We need to add in a clef. The treble clef, or G clef, is a big squiggly liney thing that tells us what each of the lines and spaces are called. High-pitched instruments use the treble clef, like the violin, the flute, or the right hand of the piano. The easiest way to figure out how to read the notes on the treble stave is to use 2 catchy rhymes. For notes that are on the lines, we need to use the rhyme Eddie's green boots don't fit. Notes in the spaces are easy, they just spell face. Okay, so let's figure out the pitch name of this note. It's on a line, so we should use the Eddie's green boots don't fit rhyme. Starting at the bottom line, we say Eddie's green boots don't fit. F for fit, so our note is called F. Super! Let's do another one. This time the note is in a space, so we should use the face rhyme. Again, starting at the bottom space, we go F, A, and we don't need to go any further. Our note is an A. Easy! How to draw the treble clef. It looks like a ridiculously complicated thing to draw, but it's actually quite easy. Starting on the second line, we curve up to meet the middle line, and curve back down to touch the bottom line. We then go across, make a little loop, go straight through the middle here, and finish it all off with a little hook. Easy! Remember, the treble clef is also called the G clef. That's because when we place it on the stave, it gives the name G to the line where the sign starts. One perfect looking treble clef, done!
On line 4, draw a tiny black dot. Go clockwise and touch line 5. Then, go all the way down to space 1 and stop right in the middle of the space. To finish the clef, draw 2 dots on the right of the ear. One in space 4, one in space 3. There you have it, your bass clef is complete. Here we have the grand stave.
Connected by a brace.
Yes, Ruby. Did you know the treble clef is also known as the G clef? Notice how the treble clef resembles a letter G, and that the treble clef also meets on line 2 the most. When you draw a note on this line, it is a G note. This is what we call a landmark note. So, for treble clef, G is the landmark note.
I see it now. Landmark note. The note marks the spot.
Do you know where the landmark note for bass clef is? Well, it's here on line 4.
I know that.
The bass clef, also known as the F clef, meets most on line 4, which makes F the landmark note. In a bass clef, this note will always be F.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
Landmark notes help you to identify and read notes more comfortably. When you're able to recognize all these clefs and landmark notes, you're one step closer to reading music better.
Yeah, I'm gonna be a maestro in no time.
You're indeed closer, Ruby. There is another landmark note on the grand stave, shared between line F and line G.
Really?
This landmark note is the middle C. Middle C would only be valid with a line drawn through the middle of the note. This line is called the ledger line.
Okay, treasure 9. What?
No, Ruby, ledger line.
Ledger line.
That's right.